How can cards help with stress management? I'm not talking about playing cards here, and I'm not even talking about tarot cards. I'm talking about a different kind of card that can really help you with stress or whatever you're going through in life. But first, I'm going to speak to my guest today, Marion Jorgensen, about what stresses her on a day-to-day basis.
Hi, Tricia. Thank you, and thank you for inviting me here today. What stresses me on a day-to-day basis? I would guess the thing at the moment that stresses me on the day-to-day basis is not getting done the things that I'd really like to get done.
Mm-hmm.
So I used to stress quite a bit in the past. I was quite a perfectionist, and I liked to control everything and make sure everything was finised.
That's such a nice
But now
feeling, isn't it, to control everything? It's so easy to
it makes you
do.
feel great.
So impossible, though.
I felt wonderful at the time. I'm sure the people around me didn't. But I've learned how not to do that anymore. It's very rare that I control everything. But nowadays, I think it is. I've just moved and making sure that things are done and getting them done in time. I have that low level bit of stress all the time.
How do you deal with that?
I think I deal with it by some mindfulness, by noticing what mood I'm in and when I'm dropping, into that stressful place. But I also do, we talked about cards, and I do cards probably every day, actually. I draw a card, I look at the word, and I see what comes up for myself. And that realization, that reflection usually lets me see something that's going on, and I have an insight about that. And insights always bring your stress levels down.
So you've done a segue from section 1 to section 2 without my assistance at all. Excellent. Should we have a little play? Should we draw, you say draw, a random card and hope that it's completely relevant to stress? I'm sure all of them are, aren't they?
Yeah, I think they are. I think they're relevant to whatever is going on in the moment. So if we're going to talk about stress, then I'm sure the card, we can find a meaning within that card with stress. So I've shuffled the cards and I'm going to just pick one out. If I don't look, I'll just pick one out and see what it says.
Right. Before you say what it says, should we actually say what the cards are? Because people are probably thinking, what on earth are they talking?
These are oracle cards.
Are they oracle cards?
So I'm just going to show you. This is another one. So all it is a set of words with an image.
Right. Lovely.
So, and you said about picking a card that's really relevant to stress. This is perfect. So would you like me to show you it?
Yes, please. Yeah.
Okay.
And so A, the slogan or the phrase, and B, the drawing, right? So very, very relevant today. Absolutely. Okay, so do you want to talk us through that particular card?
Yes, if I pick this card, the first thing, I smile usually when I see them because they just feel and resonate so much inside. So it's not an emergency. We have so many thoughts, or I do, I have so many thoughts about what needs doing, what's got to happen now, what must happen, what should happen. And that's the world that we sort of create in our mind. And we need a reminder that it's not an emergency, but most importantly, it's not true. That we believe all these sort of images and thoughts, and that tell us that things have to be done or should be done in a perfect way or a certain way, and that's not correct. So
what I call the tyranny of the shoulds. I love that phrase. That's not my own phrase, by the way, but the tyranny of the shoulds, where we say, so you and your stuff around your house, this should be perfect, this should be ready, this all should be done so that I can enjoy it. But we kind of should on ourselves all the time, and it creates a tension within us and around us that makes it more difficult than it needs to be, doesn't it?
100%. I think that when I use the cards, and that reminds me, it's just, I think we all know how to not be stressed, how not to be putting that pressure on ourselves. And when we have a card or the words come up and it resonates with us, it's like that resonation, that just reminds us of what we already know, which is to back off, not do that, maybe reflect on it, have a different insight about it. It's the starting point of looking at things differently, having a different perspective, I think is what I want to say.
Different perspective is brilliant. And actually picking up on that point, so what you were doing there was you shuffled the cards, and I'm guessing you had an intention of what you wanted to get from the cards, like what you wanted it to help you with. That's a usual thing. Did you do that?
No, well, yes, you can do that without a shadow of a doubt. You can do that. Yeah. And every card will speak to you. It's different for everybody. There's no right or wrong. And that's the most important thing. Yeah. So you don't get stressed out about it. Yeah. But also, I often use them just to see what comes out for the day. Yeah. Because sometimes I think there are things that it would be great if our focus was pointed towards, that we don't even know that is the case. So I often just pull one, see what comes out, and then I go, oh, well, that's really pertinent to my life at the moment, but I didn't realize that. And definitely whenever I do a card, because it resonates, it always reduces my stress. Yeah, because I see things differently.
And this is it. So it's like quotations. I love quotations. It just because they just help you see things really differently in a very succinct way. And this is what the cards do. So I think you use different kinds of cards as well, don't you?
I do.
Yeah, and I do as well with my clients. I don't use cards very often, but there are different ones. So there's one about emotions. There's one about you at your best. But there's one as well where I bought these in. Actually, I'll just give it a go like you just did. So this is my little dish of cards that I have.
Love it.
Sometimes, if it feels appropriate, I'll get them to have a little shuffle, and then just pull out a card. Can you see that? So this is just a single word on the card. So creativity. And I would go, so where could you be more creative in your life? Or how could creativity help you in your life? Or sometimes where might you need to be less creative? And that's not usually a phrase that anybody would say. But if I think of that and stress, we can get a bit creative with the truth in a way that stresses us out. We can make a reality, in inverted commas, a reality of something that is not reality at all. So even that, I didn't think I'd be able to turn that around, but I still did. Should we do one more?
I'm just going to say about that one. Yeah. That was such a perfect one, because you're completely right that people can be over creative because they create these amazing images in their mind, the best special effects movie department in the world that scares them. Or that really resonated with me, creativity, because that's what I'm in the middle of, a massive flow of that at the moment. Yeah. And that's just a reminder to me, this is what I was saying before, that when we pick something and it resonates, it activates something inside of us. So I just want to say that about that.
How beautiful. Thank you very much. Okay. And you've got a book that you'd like to recommend. So I always ask my guests if there's a book that they've read that was inspiring or uplifting or really made a difference in their lives. And you've got one, haven't you, Marion, that you'd like to share?
Yeah, just looking down because I've got to remind myself what the name of it was. So I love this lady. She's called Dr. Barbara Angelis, and I discovered her about 5 years ago. She's got a few books, but the one that really made a difference to me, and it was called The Choice for Love. And the reason that meant a lot to me, because about 5 years ago, I was very stressed out and in conflict with a member of my family who I dearly love. I just couldn't get past a hurt that had happened. And I remember to this day being in my old garden in the place I lived before, and I was painting outside for 3 days, and I put the recording on and I listened to it, and it caused such a massive shift inside of me that I saw the way forward. I saw the way how to heal that relationship, and I did. And you know, I'll always be thankful to that book. So that's why it's my favorite.
Oh, that's really beautiful. I've read something of hers, but I can't remember. She writes a lot about relationships, doesn't she? And I think it was
She does.
the difference between men and women or something like that. But yeah, she's American and very popular.
Yeah. I just fell upon it actually, but yes, I loved it.
Yeah, excellent. And it sounds really something that would be helpful to us all. It sounds the kind of book that if everybody just read that book, everybody in the world read that book, what a difference.
It would make a difference, 100%, because it's not really, it's about the relationship with yourself and other people.
Yeah.
But if you, because if you understand what love really is, and how when you're in that loving present moment, how one, your stress reduces, because when you're in a loving moment, you can't have stress. Because love, I think, really overtakes everything when you have that feeling. And when you approach other people and you have a relationship with them or with yourself, then automatically the relationship improves. But that stress in your body, you know, those feelings that you get around stress, they don't appear. And that's why I feel love is so important.
And that's absolutely beautiful, and it makes me think about people's expectations or interpretations of what love is, and really, and what it isn't. So it isn't about the other person being perfect, because that kind of love is so easy. Often it's about being challenged and loving the person anyway, and forgiveness, and unconditional love, and seeing the positive intent behind any negative behavior can really help a lot. I don't know if that's in the book at all. That was just my added extra something.
I'm sure it is. I think it is. And I think, you know, relationships with people, we get so stressed out about them because of the shoulds and the musts and the has to and all of those. But I think when we understand that everybody loses their mind occasionally, I do, you do, everybody in the world does, you know, our mind gets full of all this stuff. So we don't really see things properly. And when you're in a relationship, and previously when I used to get irritated or frustrated with people and stressed out, now when I look at them, I see that their mind is just full of stuff and they're not seeing the world really. Their perception is wrong. It's off. They're not really with it in that moment. And if you let that alone and don't try and fix it with the other person, then it will pass. And they will see things right again.
That sounds just so brilliant. And I think that might go on my client reading list. It sounds like a really, really excellent book. Marion, it's been really lovely talking to you. This has been excellent. And so I hope everybody's really enjoyed this chat. I will put Marion's details below. I'll put the book below as well. That would be nice, wouldn't it? If you've enjoyed this, do please share it, and subscribe if you haven't already. And if you want to make any comments in the comments box below, that would be perfect too. Take care.